Welcome back to Temporal Directive, the Star Trek fan podcast, rewatching the entire franchise in chronological order. I'm Gary.
And I'm Tom.
And this week, we're watching Star Trek Enterprise's Minefield. Star Trek, the ultimate franchise. These are the podcasts of the Wakefield brothers. Their 16-year mission to watch every production, to seek out life lessons and new inspirations, to boldly watch like most fans have watched before. How you been, Tom? How's the week treated you?
Pretty good. Getting back into the swing of working for sure.
You've been saying that for the last 3 weeks. When are you going to get into it?
Well, I'm feeling like a worker again.
Oh, you poor thing.
That's it. I have managed to watch all of the Planet of the Apes old original.
Well, you're not working that hard, are you?
No, I'm not. And I really like them. And then I watched the remake in 2011 or 2001, which...
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
No, not that. The actual remake.
Oh, the Tim Burton.
Yeah, that
right.
Horrible, crappy heap of shit that I had no idea or couldn't remember how bad it was until I watched it. It was so fucking bad.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Which turned me off watching any of the others. But I think I'll continue.
The others are good.
Yeah, I think I'll continue on. But the originals are just so good.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, that's what I've been doing.
Good. Let's get into this week's episode. It is Star Trek Enterprise's Minefield, teleplay by John Shaban? Shaban? I don't know. Sorry, John. This is his first writing credit on Enterprise after joining the writing staff after 7 years on The X-Files.
Love the X-Files.
Directed by James Contner, who directed last week's Carbon Creek and last season's Dear Doctor. Good episodes. This episode aired October 2nd, 2002, and the IMDb synopsis reads... The safety of Enterprise rests on Reed's shoulders when the ship becomes trapped in a Romulan minefield and Romulan ships are closing in on them.
No, we're fucked. Reed's in charge.
We've got Romulans.
Yeah, hasn't no one's seen Romulans since forever.
Kirk says that no one has seen a Romulan.
Yeah. Like that only.
Yeah, I think Kirk was the first person to see a Romulan ever.
Yeah.
And that's because they were shocked that they looked like Vulcans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do we maybe?
I guess we don't see Romulans. I guess we only see the ships.
And the field. Yeah, okay. Right, fair enough. Let's hope.
I mean, they have a whole war with the Romulans before the original series.
Do they?
I guess they have to interact with them sometime.
Yeah. Wow. Yet they didn't know they looked like... What? That is just stupid.
How would they know if they never saw one?
Well, how do you not see one and have a whole war with them?
It's a space battle, Tom. All right, let's go watch Minefield and not see Romulans.
Well, fun.
And we're back from watching Minefield. Well, Tom, first thoughts, what did you think?
It was all right.
Okay.
A little boring. A few inconsistencies, which I don't like. And and stupid decisions.
I think Reed is just a boring character.
He is. He's so just... You just roll your eyes and go, oh my God, you're so dramatic, but not even
Get a personality.
Yeah, that's it. Fucking... and you just don't give a fuck. It's like sacrificing. It's like, yeah, okay, just do it. Just fucking let him die. Just let him fucking go. If he wants to be a fucking, if he wants to fucking pull his fucking oxygen tube, just let him fucking do it. Just let him die. Whatever. Just fucking.
There's a lot of F's in that.
Oh, I can't help it. He annoys the shit out of me. He's the worst. There's no tension there whatsoever either. That whole, when we get there. Oh.
And how did you feel about Romulans appearing?
Oh, that was fine. We didn't actually see them. I guess it was sort of like a little bit of legendy sort of stuff. That was about it. So that was all right. Didn't mind that so much.
Very good. Yes, it's stuck to canon as far as no one seeing a Romulan until Kirk.
Yeah.
But in the same episode of the original series, Balance of Terror, Spock also says that cloaking devices are technically theoretical.
Really? Oh, wow, I don't remember that. There you go. So that's sort of not right.
Well, even them seeing the Suliban cloaking technology and then the Romulan cloaking technology, but also Discovery takes place before the original series, and the Klingons in that had cloaking technology. Yeah. So Enterprise is not the only one that breached that part of the canon, but you know what? Not the end of the world.
No, not really. Not when it's such a sort of like integral part of Star Trek.
Yeah, cloaking devices.
Yeah, theology.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's get into the episode. We open with Malcolm Reed, and I wanted to turn it off. No. But he walks through the mess hall and he goes over to the captain's mess door. And he rings the bell and he's straightening his uniform and he's whatever. He's clearly nervous. So he rings the bell and you hear Archer's voiceover say, "Come in." And so he does. He enters. He takes a moment to like take a breath, prepare himself.
It's season 2 for fuck's sake.
I know.
Like he's been through all this sort of shit with him already and done like I don't get it at this point. I mean, if this was a episode 1 thing, like early episode 1, then I would understand completely. But with all they've been through the first season, this is just shit.
Why has Archer not tried to connect with any of his crew until now?
Well, he has with Hoshi and with
Trip and T'Pol are always in that fucking
T'Pol,
captain's mess. Always.
Yeah.
It's the three of them are always having dinner together or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. He's tried with Hoshi, but he hasn't with Reed or
Travis.
Travis, yeah.
Or the Doctor.
No.
Over a year in, and he's finally invited one of the senior officers to have a meal with him.
Yeah.
What?
Great captain he is.
What? It's just... I don't know. It just seemed really odd to me that it had been so long.
Yeah.
But then again, Reed is
hard to deal with.
A difficult person to like chat with.
I wouldn't invite him.
I wouldn't invite him to my birthday party, that's for sure.
That's it. I would keep a professional distance.
Like, yeah, we work together. I don't know anything about him, but we work together.
That's it.
Archer asked him about sports. He's like, I don't really watch sports. You can see Archer gets so deflated. Like,
yeah, it's like,
well, oxygen, huh? But all Reed wants to talk about is the duty roster. Yawn.
Surprised it wasn't about like a new weapons array or some shit that he's come up with.
Luckily, they get interrupted by a comm from the bridge to Pole saying that they've detected an uncharted system and one of the planets is Minshara class, or M class as we would later refer to it.
Yeah.
I think the captain is probably pretty happy at this point. Like, oh, thank fuck. This was going to be an awful hour. And now he gets to do something fun.
No, he missed out on his Eggs Benedict, and that's just sad.
Yeah. It's not going to keep, is it?
No.
So they leave the captain's mess and they head up to the bridge. They're talking about the planet. T'Pol says it's uninhabited. There's a chain of volcanoes that expands an entire hemisphere. Archer says that he's looking forward to getting some fresh air. Let's prep a shuttle. And then there's a massive explosion. And we see an external shot of the Enterprise where the explosion was, and there's a big chunk missing out of the saucer section. And then we skip the credits.
Yeah, that was a good scene though. I really liked that whole
explosion.
Yeah, explosion and ripping of the... What?
Why don't you just watch Star Wars? Oh, I like the explosion. Things went bang. It was really cool.
I meant because generally in Enterprise, their graphics are not usually that good.
Okay,
because their graphics are usually pretty shit. I meant their quality was a good on that.
Okay then.
Thank you.
So we come back from the credits, and Reed says there was a thermokinetic explosion on the outer hull with breaches on C deck and D deck. Hoshi has been hurt. One of the explosions knocked Hoshi to the ground, but the emergency bulkheads are in place. There's a big section that's been decompressed, but they don't know if anyone's in there yet, and they don't really know what happened. There's just an explosion. They don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
Archer calls down to engineering, so we get a shot of Trip in engineering. There's fire and smoke everywhere, so there's clearly some stuff going on.
Bit of damage happening.
He says that they've got plasma fires, there's an overload in the EPS grid, but still no idea what happened. On the bridge, Archer asks for a casualty report. Reed says that they're still getting figures coming through. So far, 17 injured, including Hoshi, and no fatalities. We have a really quick scene in the sick bay of Phlox helping someone who gets them in the imaging chamber, and more people come into sick bay. So clearly a lot of people are hurt. We go back to the bridge. Travis tells the captain that something just struck the ship, and he asks for a visual. So we see the view screen move around a bit on the saucer section, and Archer says, there, just behind the secondary plasma vent. You see it? No one sees anything.
No.
So Travis zooms in, and there's like a fuzzy kind of staticky, sparkly orb. As they look at it, though, it starts to like get clearer to see, and then suddenly they can just see it.
Yeah, it's just
Clearly the cloaking device has just stopped working because
why
it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, we don't need
We
it
know
for
what
the
it
story,
is. So it just doesn't exist.
It just turns off.
Just phases out.
It's all good.
Reed says it's armed with tricobalt explosives and that it's probably a mine.
Tricobalt.
Correct.
Which we don't see again until like Voyager, right?
Voyager. And even they only have it the once, don't they?
Yeah, they use like the two shots they have
To destroy the caretaker, right?
Yeah. And
that's
then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, great weapons.
Well, if the Romulans have them, they must be good.
Yeah. If they only have them in the past, then we don't see them again in the future either.
The Romulans might have them.
Really? I don't know.
How would you know?
Well, they only might
Usually
use them
they
in
just
mines.
say, oh, it looks like there was weapons fire. It looks like it was Romulan. So maybe they always use tricobalt devices, and that's just the Romulan technology.
Possibly.
So now they just say, oh, we're detecting Romulan weapon fire.
Though I feel like in Next Gen, especially when they're doing investigations on lots of things, because they do it in lots of episodes, they go, that's a Romulan power source, and they call it something. And it's not tricobalt.
We'll see when we get to Next Gen.
Yeah.
Just make a mental note of that, and we'll talk about it again in 5 years when we get to Next Generation.
You know that I will hold that information. You know that I can do that.
Oh, dear. All right. They determine that the mine that has attached itself to Enterprise has attached near an impulse reactor. So if there is an explosion, if it does explode, they will disable Enterprise and it'll be a massive...
Big bada boom.
Yep. So they talk about a couple of ways to maybe get rid of it. Can we just polarize the hull plating? Will that dislodge it? Or they talk about a couple of things, but they said they don't know how it's triggered, so probably best to get out there and have a look, really.
Yeah.
But Archer says, I've also never heard of a minefield with just two mines. Are the quantum beacons still mounted on the grappler arm? So that's a callback to a couple of episodes ago when they used them to see the cloaked Suliban ships in
traveling
Shockwave.
around them,
Yeah. So they lower the grappler arms with the beacons and activate it, and they have to fiddle around with the settings or whatever, but they do it. And
that look was great.
They have heaps of mines, like a fuck ton of mines. Yeah. We cut to the room right next to the airlock where people put on their EVA suits. I don't know, does that have a room name? Anyway.
Yeah.
Reed is suiting up, putting on his space suit. And then he goes into the airlock and opens the hatch and flies out. Reed approaches the mine. You can see that there's spikes coming out of it that are connected to the hull. 2 of them have locked onto the hull, and he says that he can see that there's proximity sensors, but they appear to be offline. He's scanning it, obviously. And he says that the mine doesn't think that it's hit anything. But he's found an access panel, so he's going to have a look inside. We cut back to the bridge. Trip comes up from engineering and enters the bridge and says that he can't get into the decompressed sections, but he imagines it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
But he did a head count and no one from engineering has been lost or anything. They talk about maybe detaching that section of hull plating, so if they can't defuse the bomb that's attached, maybe they can just detach and let it float away. And Trip says that they'd have to reroute some EPS conduits. There's about 300 bolt couplings holding it on, so it could be done, but it'll take 3 or 4 hours to do.
Yeah.
So Archer says get started. That'll be our last resort option.
Yeah, that's fair though.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to Reed, and he's got this arming mechanism thing extended out of the mine so that he can have a look at it. Behind him, a ship decloaks. They don't know what it is, but being Star Trek fans, we know that that is a Romulan ship.
Yeah, instantly.
Yep. So we're on the bridge. Archer asks if T'Pol has ever seen a ship like that. She says, nope.
Nah.
And she says that it's reflecting their scans. Travis says they're hailing because Hoshi's not at her station because she's in sickbay.
And they don't have anyone to cover her shift?
Apparently not. So T'Pol goes over to Hoshi's station and puts the message on speakers, and it's just in Romulan, so we can't understand what it's saying. T'Pol says the translator's not locking in, and you and I both looked at each other and went,
yeah.
Isn't there a common ancestry there?
Yeah.
Surely the translator would figure that out
pretty damn quick.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe not instantly because it's not Vulcan.
No.
But common ancestry generally leads to at least some commonality.
Yeah, that's right. It would be pretty quick. That's it. Wouldn't be instant, but it would be bloody quick.
You would think. But obviously not.
Yeah, apparently.
We cut to sickbay. Phlox is with Hoshi, and Archer asks if she's in any shape to return to the bridge, and he says, no. She has a severe concussion.
Hoshi's pretty eager to get up there.
Yeah, she sits up and says, tell him I'm on my way.
Yeah. I will be there in a moment.
And he says, you'd be of little help in your present condition, Ensign. And then she lies back down. Not much of a fighter.
No.
So she was keen for a second. And then she was like, maybe I'll just nap. We cut back to the bridge, and Trevor says that the Romulans are charging their weapons. They fire a couple of warning shots. Then they decide they have to get out of there.
Funnily enough.
What a shock.
Who would have thought that was the idea?
So they let Reed know that they're going to start moving because he's still outside.
Then we have the Galaxy Quest moment.
Well, yes, Travis gets the joystick out.
Yeah. Yep.
And starts maneuvering through the mines.
Yeah.
And then we see, as he's flying through, we see that the Romulan ship cloaks again.
Absolutely Galaxy Quest. 100%. With the joystick and everything and mines, the only thing was they weren't magnetic. That was it. It was totally it. Like, I wanted Galaxy Quest music to go with it. It would have been much better.
Oh, dear. We cut back to the hull. Reed says he's identified 4 separate detonation circuits and that if he can isolate them in the proper sequence, he should be able to deactivate the mine. Archer tells him that he's got a backup plan if that doesn't work, but he'd prefer not to use it.
Yep.
Travis is maneuvering through the minefield at very slow speeds, but makes a little bit of a sharp turn and it bumps a little bit.
Jostles.
Yes. And the mine reacts by shooting out another one of those magnetic spikes and it goes straight through Malcolm's leg.
Yeah.
And then attaches to the hull.
Yep. Even though it doesn't think it's attached to anything or has hit anything or anything, it's still trying to balance itself on its non-existent attachment to anything.
Yes, because they're not proximity sensors.
Right. Sure.
The spikes are different to the proximity sensors. I've seen the blueprints.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's okay then. Sure. I hadn't realised.
I've done my homework, you see. So Reed calls the bridge and just tells them what's going on, that he's attached through the leg, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not very exciting because I don't really care.
No, because, could have went through his heart and we wouldn't have given a shit.
To be honest, Reed could have died right there and I would have gone,
Yep, that's it. Hopefully they get a new recruit that's better.
Just someone that has some sort of personality.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I'm not to say that it's not the... I don't think it's the actor's fault.
No.
I think it's just he's just written as this like dry...
Yeah, he's got nothing
boring
to work with.
person.
Yeah.
I think the actor's
And he does
fine,
it well.
But yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything else, so
No.
I can't really judge.
If I saw him off that, I wouldn't hire him, really.
Oh, that's rough. We cut to sickbay. She's complaining because she can't go back to her station because they need a translator and she just wants to help. That's the whole scene. And then we cut back to the hull. And Archer shows up in his EV suit saying, I thought you might need a hand.
I'd prefer a leg, Captain.
Then starts an awful exchange.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've made little notes of ha 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 next to all the stupid jokes that Reed makes.
So your whole page is
pretty
covered
much
in that.
For example, I would consider letting you amputate, but if Chef got hold of it, he'd be serving roast Reed for Sunday dinner. Or when he gets the drugs from, like the painkillers from Dr. Phlox, and it starts to work, and he goes, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" That's right, there's crickets in space. Those are space crickets. They're just to make people feel bad about bad jokes.
Oh, that'd be great.
So Archer tells Reed about the backup plan, gives him a hypo spray to try to make him feel better, says that he's going to do the work. He's going to deactivate the mine while Reed talks him through it. Reed says, "You couldn't possibly. I'm trained for this. You're not. It's delicate work. Yeah. I'm the only one.
I'm better than you, Captain."
Boring. We cut to sickbay. Hoshi's been translating. Hoshi says that the aliens are ordering them to leave the system immediately or they will destroy us. And the next message was that they've annexed this planet in the name of something called the Romulan Star Empire. And T'Pol says, Romulan. It's pronounced Romulan. And then it cuts to commercial because that's a big deal.
Yeah, because she's got a very serious look on her face.
It's a serious shit. Oh. Romulans are serious shit.
Oh.
We come back from commercial and we're with Archer on the hull and they're briefing him on the message that they just got. And he's like, Romulans, I read about them when I was with Daniels in the future.
No, he didn't. He wasn't allowed to touch the book.
No, he just read the spine.
The spine, yeah. And he's like, maybe you shouldn't read that one.
Yeah, that's right. When Trip says, what'd you find out? Not much, just the name.
No.
So you didn't read about them.
Yeah.
You just found out that the name exists.
Yeah, Romulans.
Fascinating. Anyway, T'Pol says that they're rumored to be an aggressive territorial species, but the Vulcan High Command has never made direct contact with them. Archer says that we can't exactly just warp out of the system at the moment, so keep going slowly.
Yeah.
And see if we can prepare a message to tell them that what our situation is, that we've got someone stuck and we're just going to wait for that, whatever. Then we have a really, 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 really long scene with Reed and Archer deactivating the mine.
Yeah.
really with silly instructions like rotate each one counterclockwise 70 degrees in this order, blah, blah.
Yeah, the top one, then the bottom one, then the diagonal.
But it's really just an excuse for the two of them to talk.
Yeah.
And this is where we find out Reed has no hobbies. He has no life.
Yeah, none of the sports, no hobbies, yada, yada, yada.
He doesn't like chatting. He just not much of a conversationalist.
No.
He doesn't think that the captain should socialise with his crew.
No. He thinks the crew say too much and have too many opinions, and the captain should be the one in charge, not them.
Yep.
All of that shit.
Basically, he just proves that he is a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
My notes, I wrote in my notes, Reed is a dick.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And he's got a fear of water, even though he was a Navy kid.
Aquaphobic.
Yeah, so he's aquaphobic, yet he
comes from a long line of Royal Navy men.
Yeah, who knows how to sail and do all this shit because he was raised in boats and whatever else. Mm-hmm. Yet he's aquaphobic.
Yes.
Right. So he's scared of all this shit.
Drowning.
Yeah. Yet
Specifically
drowning. And he's just a fucking frightened kid who wants to be a hero.
Yes.
He's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
Well, he tells the story of his uncle.
Yeah.
He was a brave man who also had aquaphobia.
Yeah.
But to face his fears, joined the submarine service.
He's an idiot. Just like he is.
And he made chief engineer of the HMS Clement.
Yep.
Which hit a mine. What?
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
And we're trapped under the ice shelf, flooding.
Yeah.
And his great uncle, the man afraid of drowning, locked himself in the engine room to keep the reactor online long enough for his crew to make it out in the escape pods. He went down with the ship. He did what he had to do to save his crewmates.
Yeah, sure. That's aquaphobia for you.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Anyway, he's telling Archer that story because he is basically saying, just detach the hull and let me go.
Yeah.
And Archer says, not going to happen, so shut the fuck up.
Don't be a fool.
Yep.
So stupid.
And then they make a joke about peeing in his suit. The laughter is cut short when two Romulan warbirds decloak behind them. Ooh.
Yeah.
We cut to the bridge. Travis says that we're being hailed, and the Romulans are saying, "You've ignored our warnings. I'm aware of your situation. Our scans show you've prepared to detach the hull segment surrounding the mine. Complete the procedure and leave this system immediately."
That was really good.
I should be a Romulan.
Well, it sounded just like him, actually. It was great.
And then Trip says, "We've got a man trapped out there. Don't your scans show you that?
Don't you have a heart?
Where is your humanity, man?" And then Romulan says, "One crewman. You have 82 others safely aboard. Jettison the hull segment and leave. We will not tolerate espionage." And then the ships re-cloak, and that's it. That was my dramatic reenactment.
That was great. I loved
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, that was good. And where's the clapping thing?
So T'Pol fills Archer in on what's going on, that the Romulans have threatened them again. Trip says to the captain that they've scanned us. They know that we're ready to detach. And Archer says, "I'm just defusing the last detonation circuit, so stand by." They hit the button. This thing pops up the top of the mine, and it's rearming itself as a backup arming device.
It's about ready to go. Boom.
That's right. A sub-detonator.
Of course.
Which they
Everybody
can't,
wants one.
which they can't dismantle or stop. So Reed's like, see, just let me go. Let me go, Captain.
He's such a fucking idiot. Like
then he pulls the air hose out of the back of his helmet to sacrifice himself.
Like, cut his leg off. Cut his fucking leg off.
I know. I don't understand why this isn't an option in this whole thing.
That's right. I mean, he even mentioned it at the start, like when Archer first comes out, about cutting his leg. Amputate the leg. Cut the leg off.
Give it to the chef.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Like, he doesn't have to sacrifice his life. Just fucking cut the leg off. Pull him back into the airlock. You're done. Like, it's not that fucking hard. You don't have to go through all this shit.
No, it's not that hard.
And it'd be over.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, so they go through this big thing about him trying to sacrifice himself for the crew, and he pulls out his air tube from the back of his helmet, and then the captain goes around and refills his air tank with his air tank.
Yeah. Now, I have noticed in many, many sci-fi movies, when they actually do, like, release the hose like that,
yes.
Like, all he did was release it from the helmet bit, so not even from the actual part that's producing the oxygen. Right, so he releases it from the helmet.
Reed, are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Reed, but most sci-fis do this no matter where they detach it from.
Sure.
All of a sudden, the oxygen that's coming out from these tubes is at, like, full speed, 100%, instead of just, like, the trickle that it needs. Because when
almost like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Was sucking it out.
Yeah, sure. That's how it works.
Well, wouldn't a vacuum be sucking the oxygen out?
Yeah, well, I suppose, but that's not how the mechanics of it would work. Because it would.
How would it not?
Because it would all have valves and shit throughout the tube on either end of
Right,
it.
but they're open to go into the hose.
Well, yes, they would be, but there would still be a regulator valve on either side. So even on the external one that's pumping out would still have a regulator on it, regulating how much is going out of the tube. So even if it does have a vacuum...
But there's still a hole.
Yes.
So it would still get sucked out.
Yes, but that would compensate. That regulator valve would compensate for the amount coming out.
I'm not sure that's true.
That's why it's called a regulator.
Well, that's in gravity. A regulator probably would not work.
Well, it's a space
in the
suit.
vacuum of space.
Well, it should, because it's a spacesuit regulator valve.
But it's a spacesuit designed to regulate oxygen in the environment, not in the vacuum of space.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but a regulator valve is inside the suit, regulating how much oxygen is coming out of the
But the vacuum of space is coming in to suck it out. I don't understand this. Why do we always have such stupid arguments? I'm starting to really regret doing this podcast with you, Tom. Just joking.
Anyway.
Okay, so, all right, so we'll agree to disagree that the vacuum of space will have an impact.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I'm glad you're such a spacefaring expert in these fucking things.
You too.
Didn't realise you studied at NASA. So Archer gave Reed some more oxygen and then had to go inside to get some more for himself. So he goes into the airlock. Trip's there. He asks Trip to go and get some shuttle pod hatches because apparently they're reinforced with durotanium alloy and can take a hell of a beating.
Yeah.
He's got a plan. He doesn't communicate what that plan is
to anyone,
but he says, "Get me 2 shuttle pod hatches stat."
Yeah.
He doesn't say stat. He says on the double. But stat on the double, same thing. Then we cut to the situation room. The situation room is that little area at the back of the bridge. Trip and T'Pol are there, and Archer is back outside with Reed on the hull.
And the 2 doors.
With the 2 doors. T'Pol says that they're ready to go, and Archer says, "All right, go ahead. See you soon." Trip says, "Hang on, fellas."
Yeah.
And then the section of hull plating with Archer and Reed in the mine is detached from the rest of the ship, and it starts to float away. On the bridge, Trevor says they're at 600 meters and that we need to wait another 100 meters. We see 2 Romulan ships decloak. Enterprise tries to hail them, but there's no response. They charge their weapons up. T'Pol says polarize the hull plating. Trip says, "I'll do what I can, but we're missing some of it, remember?" We go back to the section of the hull that's floating off. Archer starts cutting through the spine that's pinning Reed's leg to the hull. He says it's rearming. He says, okay, you're free, let's go. They push off the part of the hull that's holding the mine, and they turn the shuttle pod hatches. They've each got a shuttle pod hatch, and they turn to face the mine with the shuttle pod hatches in front of them like a shield. The mine explodes and shoots them off. On the bridge, T'Pol's trying to get in touch with the captain, but there's no response. Maybe their transmitters were knocked out in the blast. Travis can see them on the sensors, so he opens the launch bay doors and sort of maneuvers the ship to catch them. The Romulans are still locking their weapons, and just as they are caught, T'Pol orders the Enterprise to go to warp, and they warp off. We cut to Shuttle Bay 2. Archer and Reed are in there. They've taken their helmets off, and they have a quick chat about how are things okay, and then they have a discussion about how many seconds it was. And
10,
Archer says it was 20 seconds. That's an order, and everyone goes ha 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 ha, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, 20 seconds because I'm an arrogant fuck.
I feel like our talk through went real fast because we kind of glossed over the big chunk of the episode, which was the conversations between Reed and Archer.
Yeah, because it was shit.
Because that was the boring part.
That's it.
But now that we've talked through it, what do you think?
It was crap. I mean, the concept was okay, I suppose. Like, I like the idea of the mine getting stuck on the ship and then having to deal with that idea. Like, deal with that. That was good. Reed...
Saying Romulans are cool?
Yeah.
Romulan ships are cool?
Exactly. Like, I liked that, and I liked that we didn't actually see the Romulans, but it was sort of like the touch of them. Like, it was good. So I liked all of that. But, yeah, I didn't like the Reed interactions and stuff, but I never really do whenever he has a bigger part than just a passing couple of comments.
He's just not a very complex or interesting character.
No, that's right. And I don't care about him. And in this, like...
Well, he doesn't give you anything to care about.
Well, that's right. And then in this, not only did he not give me anything to care about, but there was no actual fear of danger because he was just making it all up because they could have just cut his leg off and taken him inside. Like, so there was no actual detrimental thing happening here. They were just making it all up. Like, it felt like it was too much. Yeah. Like, you know, so, yeah. So it wasn't very high on my like list there at all.
Well, there was some conversation there about Archer making the decision to not treat his crew like a crew and to try to make it more of a friendship or family kind of atmosphere because they're going to be out in space for so many years. It's not like a normal mission that they would have had in the past. So I thought hearing Archer talk, Archer's part of the conversation was more interesting, but a lot of the times in this episode, Archer was just used to get Reed to talk. It wasn't really so much about what Archer had to say. But I actually quite liked Archer in this episode.
Yeah, he was fun. Like, there was no issues with Archer, really.
I'm not... You always say that.
Well, that's because
you always say there's no issues. You never say anything's good. Well, you always say, no, I don't have any problem with it.
Oh.
Therefore, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, that's what it's
can you just say that it's good? Like, did you enjoy it? I don't know, because you just said, I don't have an issue with it.
You know, now that you've said that, it's probably my language all around, to be honest.
Fuck. Just enjoy something for once. And the life lesson for this one?
It might be trust the people around you. Because, I mean, you know, he could have been an idiot and done all that kind of stuff, but Archer was going to let that happen. The crew were working on everything they can to get him safe rather than just jettisoning the hull and doing all that. So they were doing everything they can to look after him regardless of what his thoughts were.
So never leave someone behind.
Well, that's kind of it, isn't it? Like, you know, trust the people that are going to look after you as much as you want to look after them. So, you know, that teamwork thing again is probably a good one.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, IMDb rating. For those playing at home, our examples of 1 episodes are Voyager's Threshold and Next Gen's Code of Honor. Examples of 10 episodes are Next Gen's Tapestry and Deep Space Nine's Far Beyond the Stars. With those in mind, what are we going to rate this one?
A 2 or a 3?
Whoa!
I would never watch it again.
That bad?
I would never watch it again. I couldn't do it. I liked the concept of it. I liked the Romulans there, but that's about it. Like, and they weren't there enough to bump it up for me.
Okay. Well. Okay, so other episodes that we've rated like a 3 were the second episode, Fight or Flight, and that one with Odo, Oasis. They were both 3s. And then we've got quite a few 2s, like that Klingon one, Rogue Planet, Fortunate Son, Terra Nova, Shale. Yeah. Is this as bad as Shale? I would probably go with a 3 for this.
Yeah, I won't go any higher.
Because I like the Romulan elements. I liked Archer.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that kind of thing about it as well. Like, I won't go any higher.
It was really just the Reed stuff I didn't like, and that was just the big chunk of the episode.
Yeah, it was a huge chunk.
All right, so we'll go with 3 then.
Yeah, a 3's fine, but I'm not going any higher.
All right. 3 it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for the week.
Righto.
If you have an opinion on Minefield or Lieutenant Reed or Star Trek Enterprise or just Star Trek in general, please get in touch. You can find us on Facebook at Temporal Directive Podcast and on Instagram, just Temporal Directive. Or you can email us at wakefield_productions@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. We will be back next week with the episode Dead Stop. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.